Good morning, it's your girl, Coach Chrissy. Wanted to jump on here and share with you guys a revelation the Lord had given me about a month ago or so, and He brought it back up to me again this morning, and so I am jumping on here to share with you guys the revelation of the I guess you could say the open vision that the Lord had given me. I was actually on a call, and the voice of the Lord was going forth, and as I was speaking, these lyrics started to come. I started reciting these lyrics, and as they were coming out, I remember that they were familiar, but I could not tell you like whose song it was or even the name of the song, but they were very familiar, and it was almost like they were on the inside of me, and they just were just flowing out. And as they were flowing out, it just was like soothing. It was so soothing, and so this word that I have is for two sets of people. So this is a word for those who have been in a place of what we call the wilderness, a place of process and journey and transformation. Okay. And during this time, you have been feeling like the Lord has not been responding to you, and that is because the Lord has been sitting back to see how you are going to respond with the things that you have been equipped with along this journey. So it's not that the Lord is unavailable, because He is your present help, but in this particular season you had not been needing the help of the Lord. The Lord is wanting to see how you're going to implement the things that He's equipped you with along this journey. And so He's really in the same room. He's still available. He's just been sitting back to see what you were going to do, how you were going to respond. And so with that being said, you had been, asking the Lord, am I doing a good job? But the Lord is wanting you to just go ahead and do what you know. And then at the end, He wants to be able to assess you. Okay. So this is a testing time. And we know during testing time, the teacher is always silent, though they are still in the room, making sure you're not cheating, making sure, that you have the help if you come into a problem or situation where you need them. But they're really there to just assess, to encourage you and to assess you at the completion of your testing, to see what it is that you know or what areas that you need help in. And so you have been asking God, am I doing a good job? Am I being pleasing unto you? And nothing is wrong with that, because that also helps you to identify your heart posture, and that you have your heart posture is focused on pleasing God and being a good child, being a good steward over what He's done and is doing in your life, the transformational. And you have given up your will for His will. And so because you now have taken on the will of God, the will of Him is for us to be pleasing unto Him. Okay. And so because you are in this space of wanting to know and to be encouraged and to be, it's almost like you want a progress report, you want an assessment, while you're going through, but God actually wants to give you the assessment at the end. Okay. And so this word is for those individuals who have been asking, if you are pleasing unto God, and those who have been asking for a progress report along your walk with Christ, those who have been in a season of isolation, and God has been watching your responses, watching to see how you're going to handle it before He jumps in. Okay. And so this word, also your responses to how things have played out in your life, to see how you're going to respond to the no's, the rejection, the disappointments. God is trying to see how you're going to respond based off of things that He's already taken you through up until this point, to see how you're going to apply those things, or how you're going to handle those things. Okay. Also, this word is for those who know that they they know who their husband is, but this individual has turned their back on you. They don't see what you see. They don't know what you know. They didn't. And the reason why I say they didn't is because God has been working on them. Though you all have been separated, this person may have even went on and got in a whole nother relationship. But trust and believe, they think about you. When they end their day, and maybe not every single day, but they can't help but to have a thought of you. They can't help but to unintentionally compare what they have to what was, even though it may have turned out disappointing. It may have turned out hurtful. It may have turned out to where you like, absolutely no. Like, I love this person, but absolutely no, and vice versa. This person still is doing that, or it could be you that's still doing that, and it's something that you've prayed about, and you've tried to entertain other relationships to really pacify or to smother the love or to blot out the vision that the Lord has given you pertaining to this person, because what they have done or are doing is not adding up to what the Lord has said. But all of us know that whatever the Lord has said, He will make sure that He completes that. Whatever work He started, He is going to make sure He completes that work. Okay, so whatever He said, that's what it is. Regardless of how you feel, what you think, that's what it is. Okay, and so that's what it's going to be. And so the basically your prodigal is returning. God has been working on this individual's heart. He has been renewing their mind. He has been softening the stony heart. He's been renewing their mind, even though they may be in a relationship with someone else. Okay, they're physically there, but they are spiritually and mentally, spiritually and emotionally still tied to what God has ordained. Okay, this is something that you can't change. And they can't change, because God has already said so. Okay, and so the Lord said that again, that even if you guys are not together, haven't even spoke, God is still working this thing out for your good. And so He may be changing your heart, but this is basically God's response, because with both situations, whether it's you that have been in the wilderness season and experiencing a season of isolation and not getting the response from the Lord, to encourage you in your walk, because the Lord has stepped back because He wanted to see how you were going to respond. What is it that you've learned, and see how you're going to apply it, versus if you are someone that is aware that you have a kingdom spouse, and you know what God showed you, but life's happenings or their their rebellion, their inability to see and receive what God has said, has caused separation between you two. But you can't shake it. You can't you can't get away from it, that it keeps showing up, even though you guys have doing your own thing. Okay, and so the Lord has responded. Okay, and this response is through a song by Shania Twain titled "You're Still the One," and I'm gonna break it down as I go. It says, "Look like we've made it," and I'm gonna break it down in two parts for those that were in the wilderness and isolation, and then those that are will be receiving their prodigal kingdom spouse. Okay, all right, so it says, "Look like we've made it. Look how far we've come now, baby." Okay, we might have took the long way. We knew we'd get there someday. And so basically the Lord is saying, for those who have been waiting on a response, the Lord is saying, you made it, you did it, you did a good job. It took you some time to get it, to understand what I gave you and how to apply it, but you did it, you figured it out. And basically, the Lord is responding, saying that you made it. So, this is a time of celebration. This is a time where we're going into a celebratory season. Okay, this is the response of the Lord. Okay, and then for those that are in place of the return of the prodigal kingdom spouse, God is saying, even though you guys are separated and or were separated or seeing someone else or allow the adversities to cause a division, God is saying you still made it, okay? And that you've come a long way as far as what God has been doing in your life or in their life, as far as renewing their mind and softening the stony heart, okay? And that regardless of where you were in your walk, going back to the wilderness and the isolation season and wanting a response from God, you still kept going. You still pursued. You still kept pushing, even though God wasn't responding. Okay. And then with this individual, you still held on to what God showed you and what God told you, even though you still move forward in life's happenings and daily responsibilities and obligations. Basically you took it for what it was, even though you still did not let go of what it was that God showed you and told you concerning this individual. Okay, it says, they said, I bet they'll never make it, but just look at us holding on. And so basically what he's saying is, these were the naysayers. These were the people that spoke against what God wanted to do in and through you all's marriage, because they did not see, because they did not understand. They did not see because it was not for them to see. Number two, they did not understand because it was not, it was not for them to understand, because God was still working and is still working it out in and through you or them, okay? And also this is for those, who either party, whoever loves you is going to be your personal cheerleader. So based on how this person responded or did not respond, disappointed, hurt you, your cheerleaders are like, no way. They are putting their foot down. They are blocking this person, and they are like, nope, he or she is not for you based on what they did or did not do. And so this is where it's saying, they said, I bet they'll never make it. But in the midst of that, you still pushed through and held on to what the Lord showed and told you, okay? It says, you're still the one I run to, the one I belong to. You're still the one I want for life. So even when you were in your wilderness and isolation season, you still pressed, you still knew that God, you still held on to God's word, where he said that he will never leave you nor forsake you. So even though you could not get clear, you could not get through, you still was believing and standing on God's word, which actually pulled you all the more closer to God and in him. And the same thing with the prodigal spouse. Even though even though you were in a relationship, you couldn't help but to still think and compare, who you were with unintentionally to this individual that you were no longer with, which you couldn't understand why you couldn't shake it, because it is ordained, okay? It is ordained, it's written, all right? It is a part of your story. There are some parts of our stories that we cannot omit, we can't erase. It is just going to happen regardless, And so this is one of those things concerning this prodigal kingdom spouse of yours, okay? And it says, still the one I want for life, still the one I love, the only one I dream of. You're still the one I kiss goodnight again. This, you still, in the isolation and, in the isolation season and not getting a response from God, again, you still pushed forward. You still ended every day on a good note, still bringing it back full circle to God and just standing on what you knew. And as far as the kingdom spouse, again, this individual, still thought about you and thinks about you, and again compares and wonders what if, in the secrecy of their mind and their heart, okay, concerning you. It says, ain't nothing better. We beat the odds together. I'm glad we didn't listen. Look at what we would have been missing. And so basically what it's saying is, you all will come out on top, that God is working it out for your good, and you'll be able to see what you would have been missing, but you only will be able to see what you would have been missing, not that you are going to miss. And so this, it's in this verse, is really proclaiming what you're about to walk into, that you're going to be reunited with this prodigal kingdom spouse, okay? So that is the lyrics of the song. I hope this word has encouraged you all. This revelation has given you clarity, insight, and maybe answers to what you've been asking God for or pertaining to. So again, I hope this word has encouraged you all the way that it has encouraged me. And until next time, you guys be blessed.